name's Kyla Legget. I started working in Louisiana at Louisiana Nursery in 2014, so I've been here almost 10 years. I started off as a seasonal cashier while I was in school to be a medical administrative assistant. Once I did graduate, I went nowhere. So I've been here since then, and I thought that I was just going to be here for just a spring season. I've been anywhere from a cashier to now a buyer and then store manager. What I'm going to do tonight is show you a couple different things. I'm going to show you how to light a tree properly if you're doing a real tree. I'm also going to show you some decorating tips on an artificial tree. And then I'm going to show you how to mix your artificial garland with your real garland to kind of get a better look. It'll look nicer. First thing I'm going to do is, though, we're raffling off a bow. So I already started on the bow. I'm going to show you what ribbons I selected and why I selected them. This is going to be the first ribbon. It's this cream with the gold backing. And this ribbon is from Ferris Silk, and it's a 5-yard, it's a 10-yard bolt. So I selected that ribbon, which I've already made a bow out of. I'm going to layer this bow so you can get like a nice tree topper bow out of this ribbon. The second one is this cream quilted from Raz. This one is also a 10-yard. And then another Ferris Silk ribbon. This one is also a 10-yard. It's a gold sequin. Ferris Silk is our newest vendor here at Louisiana Nursery. It's become Instagram's hottest vendor. So that's where we picked up this vendor from. Let's see. When you're selecting your ribbons for bows on your tree, bows on a wreath, even a tree topper bow, I would always say making sure that you're getting different colors, coordinating colors, and then also making sure that every ribbon looks different. You want different textures, you want different quiltings, you want different backings. None of the ribbons should all look alike. I think that's where people get it confused. They think every ribbon needs to match exactly. They think you can't mix silver with gold. That's not true. That's mainly the reason why I mixed the silver and gold here tonight, because people think that you need to put all gold on the tree, no silver, or either all silver and no gold. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take this ribbon, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing from the flip side. I always start with my tails first, so I'm going to do about a yard. Yard is about 3 feet. That should be about what I've estimated here. You're going to take that ribbon and pinch. Once you've pinched that ribbon, you started your bow with the first tail. You take and you loop. That'll be your first loop. But because that bow that we have here is a little bit bigger, we're going to go a little bit smaller so that it fits right in the middle of the loops here. When your ribbon is single-sided, this ribbon is single-sided because the back side has nothing but a satin look. This ribbon is double-sided, and if you wanted to, you could have did a rotating gold and cream on this one. So when it's single-sided, you want to always twist your ribbon to bring your front side back to the front, and then loop over again. That makes sense? Okay. So pinch, twist, then you make another loop. None of my loops are the same. We made some bows for a customer, and she came back and she said, well, these aren't the same. I said, well, when I make bows, they're never twins. They're always just sisters. I don't know how to make a bow exactly the same as the next bow, but nobody knows that they're not exactly the same, okay? Next loop. And do it with this one. It's going to be a little bit different than the ones I'm doing in the trees now, because now that the trend is with trees is not to make a large bow, you guys. It's a 3-loop and that's it. And you're layering those 3 loops. What I'm doing with this bow, though, that I'm going to do the giveaway is going to be a full-size bow. So I'm going to use the full row of ribbon. And I just keep pinching and twisting, pinching and twisting. Now, the only thing I would say is when you're doing this, if you don't have your fingers in the right spot, the right placement of your fingers, you will lose your bow. So you want the thumb up top. See, I haven't moved that thumb, but this finger back here is going to be the finger that I'm using to move. So pointer finger is your moving finger. These three fingers just kind of hold your twist in the back. This is the only finger that you should really be moving. Twist. Let's get some more. Usually what I do is kind of get as much as I think I need to make a couple loops and then keep going. So we did a twist, another loop, and we're just going to build this bow until we have about 6 feet. So that's 2 yards left because this is going to be a 10-yard bow. People always ask what size bow is what. These are both 10 yards. The one on the tree that you're seeing on the other side, it's going to be about a 2-yard bow. So we're at the end. Take the whole thing off the spool. And this is what I have left. I'm taking everything that's left, looping it over, and putting it behind. All right, so I've got one loop, the original one that I started with, and then all of my loops here. This is where you have to keep your hands in the right placement. You're going to take the free hand, bend your floor wire to an upside down U, put one side of your floor wire through this, where that finger moves at, the pointer finger, the other side of the floor wire through the back. That's my tape from the spool. Pull tight, and then twist. You don't have to worry about smushing your loops because you'll straighten your loops once you get it onto the tree. We won't even do the cutting until we get it to the tree, you guys. So this is my original bow. I've just put it in here so it can hold it for me. I'm going to take my original bow and smush the inside of it. So this part I'll make flat. That way we can take the second bow, and the one piece of floor wire goes over the top. The other piece of the floor wire goes over the bottom of the existing bow. So one over the top, one over the bottom, and then from the back, I'm going to show you what you have. You've got 2 pieces of wire from the original, 2 pieces of wire from the new bow. I'm taking all of that wire and I'm twisting it all together. And you can lay it flat on the table, that way it helps you. So I've got 2. I'm twisting. And then I have my last one. I'm bringing around and I'm twisting. Now, the only thing I'm going to say is the more expensive the ribbon, usually the thicker the ribbon, the better the ribbon. So it's a little bit harder to make a bow. Ferris silk ribbon is extremely hard to make a bow out of. If you're going to be like a person that's just starting, this ribbon with more movement is usually a little bit easier to work with, y'all. This thicker ribbon is a lot harder to work with. All right, so we got 2 bows together, just so that somebody can have for their tree. And I'm going to take this piece around the back so that when whoever gets it home, they're able to put it on their tree because it makes the wire shorter when you twist them in the back. Same effect as the last time. I just halfened my wire, and then I'm just taking it and twisting it onto the back. So when that person gets it home, they've got 2 wires on the back. They can put it on their tree. And I'm just taking the 2 wires and twisting them again into each other. And then you take your loops and kind of work them the way you want them to be. All right. So that's a neutral ribbon for, I think you can put it on any tree if you ask me, just because of the cream, and then this has the gold on it. Next, I'm taking and I'm just cutting a straight line, straight across, and then I'm gonna roll the ribbon towards me, up on the side that's the correct side. I'm not gonna cut a fishtail, I'm not gonna cut an uneven angle, I'm just gonna roll a little bit of it and then kind of loosen it up. Rolling the first part tightly and then loosening up the roll as I get higher up on it, and then just loosening that roll up. Bless you. And I try to do each one a different length. So that's our large bow. All right. I'm going to show y'all a bow again. That way you can see. So now we're moving to the tree. So that can be used as a topper. I usually put it on the front. On the front. If you're going to do more than one, I would do two. One on the front, one on the back, if you can see both sides of your tree. If you cannot see both sides of your tree, you can get away with just one big one. You can even take the top of your tree and flatten it, the peak, and then sit it directly on top and then let the angles droop over the side. All right, so next, when I pick things out for a tree, I think of these things in my head. I think I need large ornaments. I think I need small ornaments. I think I need finials. I don't want anything to look the same. I like to mix my colors because it looks better when you're mixing colors, not just trying to keep everything the same exact color. And I also think groups. When I'm decorating, I think I'm decorating in groups, almost like an arrangement. So we'll start with what I have here, and I'll kind of explain to you as I make each step again. So first thing I do is I say, okay, we're going to pick out, we've already got a ribbon on the tree, which is the sequin, and it's mixed with the quilted, which is the same that we use for this big bow. No two bows need to be the same. So my next bow is going to be made with this ribbon. It's another fair silk ribbon, and this one is a lot easier to work with, and it's also a 10-yard roll of ribbon. Doing the same thing we did just now, so we're going to repeat these steps. Your tails don't have to be as long for your bows inside of the tree. You want to make them a little bit shorter, so about a foot, foot and a half, so about 18 inches on your tail. Pinching, making a loop, pinching, making a loop, pinching, and I said last time we're only doing 3 loops, and then making another loop. All right, that's our 3 loops, and twisting at the end. And I'm going to cut it. I'm cutting this one a little bit shorter, this second side. The key to making sure that your ribbon looks the best on the ends is a good pair of scissors. If you don't have a good pair of scissors, it will fray. It will cause the ribbon to be jagged on the edge. You'll lose ribbon because you'll have to cut it again the next year. The best way to pack away a bow, because I make my bows and then I pack them away and I use those same bows the next year. Tissue paper, the kind that you use inside of gift bags. I take them and I stuff in the inside of each loop. When I pack them inside of totes, I use big totes. And just stuffing each bow with the loops with the tissue paper. Make sure that you don't get flat ribbon, and make sure that your ribbon that you bought, because most people that shop here are going to want the more expensive just because it lasts longer. The less expensive ribbon does not last this long. I'm going to be honest. It fades quickly. It frays quickly. The more expensive ribbon, you'll get more life out of it. So that's one. And like I said, we're going to layer. So that's one layer. And then we'll pick another one. Here's another fair silk ribbon. This one has the beading and the pearl on it. I believe this one is a 5-yard. So it's a little bit less on the bolt, but it's because it's a more jeweled ribbon. It's going to be a more expensive ribbon too. A few inches on the tip. Again, we're doing the loop and twist, loop and twist, loop and twist. And we cut. And this is where the good scissors come in handy, because if the scissors weren't good, it wouldn't have cut through that ribbon. Another bending of my floral wire through, pulling it tight, and twisting. That's our second bow. We take it and we put it right over the top. I'll show y'all from the back side. Twisting this one with this one and twisting the next one with this one. All right. And then we'll come to the tree. So I've already started one grouping here. It's a bow, some ornaments, and one arrangement. So when we do a 7.5-foot tree at the nursery, I always think at least 7 bows. A 9-foot tree, at least 9 bows. So the height of your tree is how many bows you want. The height of your tree is also how many small arrangements you want. Fully decorated trees at Louisiana Nursery, a 7.5-foot tree probably has about 300 ornaments on it. A 9-foot tree probably has about 500 ornaments on it. All right. But that's our heavy decorating so that when we do have to sell things off of the tree does not look like it's been stripped so quickly. So one bow here, and I'm going to go here with my next bow. We're going to act like this bow does not exist. And we're going to go here with our next bow. And I'm just taking the bow and looping it around the branches of the tree all the way to the bottom and then twisting. Probably just 2 times. Then I take my bow. Like I said, once you get it on the tree is when you kind of adjust your bow. I kind of like to do movement to my bows on a tree, giving them a little loop. That's why wire is important on ribbon. And that's one bow. So we've got 2 bows, and if I was finishing this tree, I would do 5 more bows for this tree.